ikulu. Just like the signer, living in the new husumaga di itanu, tisinyo upanuzu.
Welcome back to The Link, everybody. We are talking about a topic that I know we've shared a couple times on KUM.com already over the last week or so, and it's generated quite the natural response. We are talking about betel nut. And of course, throughout generations of Guam, it's been a cultural, traditional practice to
Jay, I'm sorry. Can we just do this whole thing over?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure we got the... Do we have that? Yeah. Okay. Welcome back to The Link. It's 9:35. Sorry, I just had to play Pugwa for this interview.
No, very, very apropos. This added a whole new dimension to this interview.
My bad. It was my whole plan all along, but I was a little distracted back here. I was trying to make sure we do this right.
We go for accuracy here on this show.
Right on. All you, Jay.
All right, and with those scintillating sounds, bringing back memories of pugwa, maybe your uncles, your grandparents chewing pugwa, certainly a tradition of our culture here on Guam, but it's been noted in maybe the past couple of decades or so, maybe some of the side effects of pugwa and some of the things that they may be harming our community. So Dr. Rachael Leon Guerrero is a friend of ours here on the show. I have not seen her in some time, so Doctor, always good to see you.
Thank you, Jason. It's good to see you. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've seen a lot of people.
Do I say that you are the academic who is overseeing this study of trying to see how betel nut affects our people?
So let me start by saying I'm not the expert on betel nut by far, but I'm the principal investigator of our National Cancer Institute project that oversees several of the betel nut projects. So I'm kind of speaking on behalf of some of the investigators who weren't able to show up today. Sure. But the person who really, here at UOG, I would say the folks who are really the betel nut experts would be like Dr. Yvette Paulino, Dr. Ana Joy Mendez. They're the ones who are really in the trenches doing a lot of the hands-on research in betel nut.
And these are learned, very, very passionate, very concerned experts of our community, not just academically, but also as Guamanians, who you will probably be able to interact maybe directly if you volunteer for this study. So, Doc, we've been mentioning it a little bit, like I said, over the last week or so about there are volunteers being needed for this betel nut study. But what are some of the parameters and exactly what kind of information and background are you looking for to maybe get a better handle and profile on what betel nut may be doing to our
Okay. Sure. Yeah, sure, Jason. So we're looking for, we're just doing a really small study right now, and we're looking for 125 people. Actually, 25 people who don't chew betel nut because we want like a baseline of, just to know what their chemistry is for non-chewers. And then we're looking for 50 what we call class 1 chewers. And these are folks who only chew the betel nut and nothing else. They don't have the rest of the quid, with the lime and the leaf and the tobacco and everything else that's added.
No
yeah. And then we're looking for a few class 2 chewers. And those are the chewers who, they like the whole preparation with the betel nut and sometimes even with the husk and with the lime and the leaf and the tobacco. And, some even dip it and ferment it and soak it in alcohol. And, there's all kind of different recipes.
These are the pros. These are the one people
these
like
are
when
the hardcore, right?
They just don't break it open, during a card game and pop it. I mean, they take time to prepare their betel nut.
Correct. It's a science for them. So but we're mainly looking for the class 1 chewers, the people who just chew the nut. And, typically it's a lot of the chamorros that are really just, they like the nut in itself. So that's basically who we're looking for. And in order to be in the study, you just have to be over the age of 18. And so it's pretty simple. We ask people to come in for, it's not even maybe half an hour. We do a little cheek sample, get some cheek cells and, use a toothbrush. And then we get a hair sample. And then we have them fill out a really short survey that takes maybe 5 minutes, and that's it. So to be in the study, it's really easy. And maybe the reason why we're doing this is the researchers are trying to develop a new way to detect the alkaloids in betel nut. So they've pretty much figured out that they can do a cheek sample and look at the alkaloids that are present in betel nut and find it in the cheek cells. But they want to see if they can use hair, because hair is much less invasive, and see if they can detect it in hair samples. So that's basically what they're doing at this point.
Now, here's a really interesting question right now. Are you looking, Doc, for the type of people that chew the hard betel nut or the soft betel nut when it comes to, and we had that, that classic song, are we looking for the ugum or the tanga?
That's a really good question. And I think we can take both, but
okay.
I think we can take both, but I think they are preferring the hard nut. But yeah, both. Just call. Just if you're interested, we'll take anybody.
Excellent. Okay. And you mentioned specifically, I noticed you mentioned like chamorros, but are you looking for maybe like when it comes to the population sample size, are you looking for kind of like a diverse mix of Micronesian ethnicities, or are we focusing specifically on chamorros?
Oh no, anybody who chews. It doesn't matter. Ethnicity does not matter. It's just that typically, if you only chew the nut, especially the hard nut, that's typically mostly your chamorros. But we're happy to accept any ethnicity.
Okay, and although you said you're looking for people 18 and over, are you more interested in certain generations or certain age demographics? Like, we prefer the older people, or does it, Gen Zs, millennials, Gen X?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll
take all comers if you have an interest in betel nut, or not if you're in the control group.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, and what do you intend to do? I mean, obviously, it's the purpose of the research would be to determine some correlation between adverse health afflictions and the chewing of betel nut. But I mean, are you looking for any particular outcomes right now? Do you have a hypothesis that you're working with already?
Well, I think with this particular study, they're really just looking for a biomarker. But in some of the past research studies that have been done, there is the hypothesis, and there is a lot of research that shows that betel nut is associated with causing oral cancer.
That's leukopenia, right?
Yeah.
Cancer of the mouth, yeah.
Right, cancer of the mouth. Now, I have to be full disclosure. My dad chews betel nut, and and we were just talking about it. I was visiting him last month, and he's been chewing betel nut since he was 8 years old.
Wow.
He's 93. And he's never had anything. So I don't want to say that it doesn't, but I don't know. It's associated, but if as far as the hard evidence that they know conclusively without a shadow of a doubt that if you chew betel nut alone that it'll lead to cancer, I don't know about that, but it is associated, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, hence the purpose of the study. I mean, we're trying to determine like a actual correlation between
right. And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think more research needs to be done to prove conclusively that the betel nut itself is causing cancer. But I think, when you're chewing the quid, which has the tobacco and the lime and the betel leaf, that I think there's more evidence that it's definitely carcinogenic, because we do know that we do know that tobacco is a carcinogen. And so I think that that's pretty solid evidence that the quid causes cancer and probably some other health effects.
Okay, and secondarily, are you also maybe trying to find, when you look at causation, maybe smokers that also chew versus people who smoke or do not smoke and then chew?
Yeah, for this research, I would say we're not looking at that, but I think that there's probably some evidence and a link that people who smoke are definitely increasing their chances. I mean, if you smoke, you're increasing your risk of not only lung cancer but several different types of cancer.
Well, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it a theory, like maybe going back maybe like 20 or 30 years, that possibly chewing betel nut would contribute to litigo-bodig?
No, that's the fetang nut. There's another nut.
Okay, my mistake.
Doc, I wanted to ask though, because you're still making the call for hard betel nut chewers, I want to say that is that mostly just Chamorros that do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of the our Micronesian brothers and sisters, they're chewing more of the soft.
Right, but also, Doc, a lot of Chamorros are also chewing the soft because the hard betel nut is harder to come by.
Yeah,
and that's because when people,
right.
It's so crazy because this is all drug related.
So it's a supply chain thing.
Well, because people would steal betel nut and then sell it, and how they would steal it is they would just cut down the trees of the hard betel nut, and so that's what. So that's very interesting. And how many more people do you need? How many have responded?
So right now we have 55 who have been recruited out of 125. So we still need about 70 people. And most of what we need is just the betel nut in itself, the class 1 chewers, not the ones that chew the quid.
And here's the most obvious follow-up question is, how much more time do they have to contact you, and how can they do so if they would like to participate?
And then what's it entail for them to be involved with the study?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we are still recruiting. They still have at least 3 or 4 months. So, they don't have to call today but once we finish recruiting, that's it. We're done. So
you're looking to start after the new year, maybe?
Oh no, we're recruiting.
Oh, okay. No, I mean for the actual to begin for the study.
Oh no, we've already been recruiting.
Okay,
so
I see.
Yeah, we're recruiting. Okay. And so if you want to participate, you can contact Jade Chanu, and her number is 747-1608, and I'll put it in the chat afterwards, and with her email. And participation is on a first call basis. So as soon as you call, she'll call back. And again, if you are living on Guam, you're at least 18 years of age, and you chew betel nut, then you're eligible to be in the study. And there's no age limit except you have to be over the age of 18.
All right.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really, really interesting topic that I know always comes up. And, again, the purpose for the study is there's always been that big question mark, does chewing betel nut have some sort of negative effect and everything? And hopefully, with your research and everything like that, we'll be able to get a little bit of a better idea.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Wait, you got something?
Thank you. No. Thank you, Doc.
Thank
Appreciate
you, Doc.
it.
Always good to see you. Good luck.
Yeah.
We're going to take just a quick break and come back, and Jay's going to finish out the show. We do have a couple of interviews. We're going to talk with retired General Duran Cruz about a fun run they're doing on Cross Island Road, and then also from Rainbows for All Children, Marie Halloran here to talk about, it's virtual this year, the 17th annual LifeWorks Guam Out of the Darkness, our community walks. That's coming up right here on the link, so keep it where you